Those Who Serve, proudly supported by the law firm of Hiller Comerford. If you need VA disability benefits, it's Hiller time. Fry Electric Construction Company, 80 years strong. Wiggity Wayne Sauces, supporting sauces for soldiers. And with generous support from Danny Irwin.
Hello everyone, my name is Terry McGuire, host of Those Who Serve. For Black History Month, we have some very exciting guests today. Catherine Miller, my co-producer, will interview retired Air Force Colonel Merryl Tengesdal. She's the only African-American female to pilot the U-2 spy plane, among other great things and accomplishments that she's had in her life. My second interview today will be with Jeremy Betty, Army veteran and a graduate of sorts of many of the programs at the Veterans One-Stop Center of Western New York. So we're going to have some great things to hear from Jeremy Betty. And finally, we'll have nurse practitioner Melissa Archer. She's a veteran of the Army National Guard as a combat medic. She will be providing a mental fitness moment.
I'd love to hear a little bit about your background. How did you end up taking the journey that you took? I mean, you're the only woman to fly a U-2, right?
The first and only black woman to fly the U-2 spy plane.
Okay.
So the U-2's been around for, this year will be the 70th year. It's been around since 1955. It was a
I didn't realize it was that long.
Yes, so 1955, Kelly Johnson designed the aircraft.
Right.
It was flown by the CIA under a black program to spy on the Soviets, high altitude reconnaissance aircraft. So really I was in the Navy first. That
Right.
was where I first served, so I started in 1994.
Okay.
I always wanted to be a pilot because when I was younger I wanted to be an astronaut. So I can get into more of that later. As I was going up in my flying career, I had the opportunity as a flight instructor when I was flying and instructing students for both the Navy and the Air Force to go to the U-2 program. I was ending my Navy career, and my boss at the time, who was in the Air Force, Lieutenant Colonel, said, "Hey, come over to the Air Force." I looked at the various programs, saw the U-2, saw it was aligned with what I wanted to do in life, so I applied for the program, got picked up, and then the rest is history.
So when you were little, you just knew, you felt that calling that you wanted to be a pilot.
Ever since I was 7, yes. I watched a lot of science fiction.
Right.
I was enamored by Star Trek, and
You've got a few of us here.
Yeah, so I always wanted to boldly go explore the unknown.
Where no woman had ever gone.
Yes, the kid's still inside me.
I love that. You have this no settle down philosophy.
Yes.
Because you came out with that fire in your belly. But I'm sure there were times that you felt challenges that were unique to you, that you had to go through. If you could share a few of those and how you overcame them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, growing up in the 70s, being a young kid, maybe I look a little younger than I am, but there was just a lot of societal norms, right? So, girls didn't do all of these things, wanted to do that. So one of the things I really talk about is that you have to know the type of person you are. Like you can't think to be anyone else. You only can do you the best. So I learned that probably sometime around 3rd grade. The only person I wanted to be was myself.
I love that.
And once you realize that, then pursuing your goals, even though you have maybe outside factors that will try to pressure you to do something else, you'll stay committed and focused on what you want to do. And so I always tell people, you have to be genuine, authentic. You can't lie to yourself about what you can do. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and be 100% honest. And that's just the start of what needs to be done in life. So that's what I implore young people to do, because there's a lot of pressures, whether it's, now it's not only people talking, because it's social media and the expectations. And, I have 2 kids, one's 12, one's 10. And giving them the space and the strength to know that they can be themselves, be awkward, be a little weird, and it's okay. Everyone else is just masking it.
Exactly.
And we're going to find a place for you to be who you truly want to be.
And that was very similar because I, grew up kind of like, for me, it was the head of the nerds, the defender of the weak.
Right.
And I remember nobody had gone to college before me, and I suggested I wanted to go to college, and my dad said, well, maybe you could be a nurse or a secretary. Especially as women, and then especially for you as a woman of color, going into a primarily masculine world.
Right. You look at some of the military numbers. So
Right.
statistically, women of color in the aviation field in all the services make up less than 0.2%. Commercial field is almost the same. It's about the same numbers. So there's not many of us. So there's a lot of things you go through as a woman. How do you fit in? How do you,
Right.
you just do what you need to do? There are pressures. I mean, you walk in a room, you're representing this entire gender, whether you like it or
Yes,
not.
it's true.
And you have
Yeah.
to come very correct with everything that you do. And I tell people you're going to feel that pressure, but you're strong enough. If you weren't, you wouldn't be in the position to be in.
Right.
And it's all about performance. It's all about performing your best at every time. And even if you mess up, giving yourself the grace and understand that people make mistakes and you're in this position and it's going to be all right.
Well, then you became a personal trainer.
I did.
And you went on Tough as Nails.
Yes. So,
Tell me a little about that.
once I retired, I decided, as a retired colonel,
Right.
I was motivating people and connecting with people in ways that I wanted to do that and not go to the airlines and fly. So
Yeah, which most pilots do.
most pilots
Yeah.
do, but I always equate it with, you're going to be a race car driver all your life and then you go to drive Uber.
Yeah.
The pay might be good,
Right.
but it's
not the same.
not the same. Not the same. So, as a personal trainer, I wanted to motivate people to fitness and do motivational speaking as well. So I was doing both of those. And part of that requires you to do social media.
Right.
As a spy plane pilot, you don't do much of. So I started doing
No.
social media. And then, sure enough, a producer from Tough as Nails calls and said, "Yeah, they saw a video of me dancing.
Right.
I'm not a good dancer, but I was dancing, and they thought it was great. And they looked at my profile and they go, 'What?' Like they were shocked, and then they reached out to me. And so I applied. I got picked up. So season
I love
2.
that.
Yeah. So
How'd you do?
I can't give you spoilers. You gotta check it. No, so as a
Has the show been aired?
the show aired in 2021. I won't give you any spoilers, but I did
You
pretty
held
well.
your own, yeah.
I definitely held my own.
That's
without a
awesome.
doubt. Without a doubt.
That's awesome. What would you tell anybody watching now that's thinking about going into the military or that's just thinking of living a life bigger than they've been presented in their options?
Right, so why you keep thinking about it, like, just go do it.
Yeah.
Just get it done. Like, think of, come with some type of framework, plan, some intermediary goals that you wanted
Right.
to get to that. And if you don't know what that is, look at other people who may have been on a similar path. It doesn't have to be the exact thing. And then use their work as a blueprint for what you want to do.
Right.
And then as you start walking on that journey, you'll see other parts open up for you. And then you can make decisions as you need to. In my book, I talk about ING words.
Right.
I'm thinking about doing it. Well, stop thinking and go do. So ING words are the things that, you're milling about, but you're not doing anything in action that's actually bringing about results. So get to it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? You don't make it?
Right. Yeah, you're no further behind than you started.
Yes, right.
Exactly.
And so,
And you got a little more life experience.
yes, or are you fearful? I always say, fear is the precursor to something great. So
Right.
if you're scared about doing it, then it might most likely be the right thing.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
For anyone that's considering it, who's watching this show,
Yes.
what would you tell them about signing up, entering into the military?
I think any person that wants to serve their country, their community, it's a huge endeavor. It's a lot of sacrifice.
Right.
It's but the benefits of the other end, that you're helping your country, that you believe in what we stand for. You might not agree with every decision that's made, but this place is, I mean, there's still people trying to get into this country, which tells you we're doing something
right.
we're doing something right. You know, it might not be everything you envision it to be, but you know, I've been to other countries where poverty it's on a level that most Americans don't understand, and to see people sharing rice or like legit starving, and so for me, that just, you know, joining the military, you know, helping your country in that way, you will see things and put a lot of things in perspective. And I think when you come back home, you will see that perspective, and you will, when you hear people say certain things, you will just have just such a bigger picture about things and how to handle those type of situations.
I love that.
And then, you know, for my military veterans, you know, my advice, because transition is hard, especially if you're disabled coming back into civilian life, try to find those military people who have already retired and have walked that journey, because it can be difficult. Transition can be difficult, and it's all different for us at different levels.
Yes.
So,
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh my God, thank you so much.
thank you so much for having
What
me.
a joy. I'm giving you a hug. You're amazing. You're such an inspiration. I'm so happy I got to sit with you today. Thank you.
Hey, we're back at the Veterans One-Stop Center of Western New York with Jeremy Betty, a Marine Corps veteran. Jeremy, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your career and your life here, especially in Western New York.
Well, I grew up here in Buffalo, and I left to join the Marine Corps in 1996. I really didn't come back to stay unless I had like a round trip ticket. I came back in 2000 and I re-enlisted right away and went right back to Pendleton. So I was in from 96 to 2005, and I stayed gone. I traveled all around the country, Pittsburgh, Virginia, Minnesota, and ended up right back in San Diego, where I spent the past 12 years.
Oh, darn, San Diego, darn.
Yeah. Not the past 12 years. Actually,
Yes.
I came back in 2021.
Wow.
My sister insisted that I come to the One Stop.
So what did you do in the Marine Corps? What was it again?
yeah, I'm a supply Marine.
Supply Marine.
Yeah.
Logistics.
Yes.
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent. So mainly logistics here in home station in continental United States versus overseas most of the time.
Mostly,
Yeah.
yes. I did most of my time at Camp Pendleton. My first duty station was at El Toro.
And by the way, if you don't know where Camp Pendleton is, that's in California, and Toro is the air base next to it.
Yeah. It was actually in Independence Day, the movie.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So that was actually my first duty station.
Wow.
And it was crazy because my first unit was the Staff NCO Academy, and everybody always said, "What do you like? That is not a place for you to send a boot, a PFC, someone fresh out of boot camp." That was a weird experience as a brand new Marine.
Right.
But they taught me a lot.
Yeah.
You know, being a small unit, I got to run my own warehouse.
Wow.
I know, as a PFC.
Very nice. I know there's a lot of people that need warehousing specialists, and I don't know, with the automation that's going on today, it's pretty impressive. But
And because El Toro was closing, I got orders to Japan. And
would that be Okinawa?
yes,
Okay, very
yes,
good.
Camp Schwab to be
Oh,
exact.
very good.
Yeah, Camp Schwab was nice compared to the rest of the camps, because we actually had a pretty exciting and active town right outside of the base. You know,
Very good.
yeah. And I actually separated from Japan.
When you mean separated, you mean you left the service from Japan, came back to the United States?
Yes. So what happened was I had planned on re-enlisting, but the career planner had dropped the ball, and there were no jobs, and the line of work. They offered to have me lateral move into another job, but I didn't want to start over. So my plan was to go home and wait for a space. And I had 90 days to re-enlist. So that's what I did. I went home and I tried to re-enlist, and the career planner over at the Naval Reserve Center, he actually sat on my paperwork and then sent it to Nickel City Recruiting Station. So I ended up with broken time.
Ah, very good.
Yes, but by the time April came around, I was flying to Pendleton.
Yeah, tell me about that transition. You're coming out of the Marine Corps, you're coming back to Western New York. Sister recommended you to come to the One Stop. How did that process start? How did that go?
Well, I mean, she just got a tip from my cousin.
Okay.
And I didn't have any place to stay when I came home, and so she got me up on I think it was a Tuesday, and she lives over on Jefferson near Utica, so we took the number 12 bus and rode it all the way here to Ferry, and we walked over here to One Stop, where I made an appointment with Chad, and I talked to Kevin Graham, so I can be housed.
Great. So you got a roof over your head
now,
and then yes, now, but then
Yeah.
and how are things going since then?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
yeah, I was, I started work right away at UPS, but I had been, I was waiting for Western New York Housing Coalition to open up School 75. So I was homeless for almost a year.
Wow. That's School
waiting-
75 over at 57 Howard Street?
Yes.
Yep. Great, beautiful facility from the
I love it.
Western
I
New
love
York
my
Housing
apartment.
Coalition. Yeah.
Yeah.
They do a great job over there. Are there any core values that you take from the Marine Corps that you would apply today?
Oh, yeah, I mean, every day.
Yeah.
Courage, integrity, justice, initiative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big one, initiative. I know Marines are big on initiative. Improvise, overcome, and adapt, right?
And
Explain the Fox program if people don't know.
honestly, I feel like it's revolved around wellness and
Yeah.
and mental health. And one of my caseworker at Western New York Housing Coalition, because we have caseworkers there, she mentioned the Fox program to me,
And is that the Staff Sergeant Fox Suicide Prevention Program?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're all clear on what that means. Gotcha.
So I suffered from depression ever since I was a young PFC, and it took me years before I could figure out how to fight it, and so when my caseworker at the building described it to me, I was like, please sign me up.
Right, right.
I'm looking for any tool or weapon I can use
Yes.
against this monster.
Yeah.
I there's a retreat out in Beaver Hollow.
Yes.
I just did the second visit there.
Yeah,
And
tell us about that. I heard it was pretty interesting.
it's amazing. I first went there in July, and they ordered me an Uber to go there. And I get out of the Uber, and just the environment and the atmosphere just smothers you. It just encases you, and it's just beautiful out there. And the staff there, they're so good at what they do. If you're having a rough time, just being there is very therapeutic, and it's only for a weekend. So I had to go a second time.
Good for you. Good for you. Well, you got to reinforce those lessons, and make sure you tell your fellow veterans, if you need a little assistance, sign up and go get some help.
Yeah,
That's the real message, right?
Yeah, I keep preaching to friends that I knew from the Marine Corps that are living here in Buffalo to come to the One Stop and sign up.
Yeah.
Because-
Outstanding. Jeremy, Betty, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate your story and letting us know that you're a real inspiration to us here in Western New York too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Hi everyone, my name is Melissa Archer. Today I wanted to talk about veterans. I am a military veteran. I was in the Army National Guard. I was a combat medic, very exciting. And just wanted to chat today about veterans and some of the things that some veterans may go through, whether they're stateside, regular military, whether they go to wartime or in stressful situations or have to respond to different situations. You know, there's some level of depression and anxiety and post-traumatic stress that may go along with that, along with anything else that could trigger any number of mental health challenges that people may face as a result of being in the military, maybe family of that military. The question, I guess, that I wanted to address was, how do we deal with these things? How do we, whether we've gone overseas or had wartime or anything like that, how do, when we come back to our day-to-day life with our families, with ourselves, with our jobs, how do we get back to baseline so that we feel good in our skin, so we can be the best versions of ourselves? A lot of times veterans or active military folks may not know that all of the services that are available to them. Here in Western New York, we do have the VA hospital, which has great resources, but also there's other things that people can utilize in terms of reaching out or, you know, finding the resources that are out there. I focus primarily on mental health. With mental health, I know there's Psychology Today that you can go on and find all types of resources for therapy, specifically if it's post-traumatic stress, EMDR, medication, support groups, anything. So the whole point is reach out, find out what's out there, go online, talk to whomever you can. For veterans, reach out to the VA hospital. It's a great resource to get the help that you need, the services you need, the support you need, so you can continue to find the best version of yourself. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you for joining us for a special episode of Those Who Serve, honoring our African American veterans all across Western New York and the country. Thank you and good night.
Those Who Serve, proudly supported by the law firm of Hiller Comerford. If you need VA disability benefits, it's Hiller time. Fry Electric Construction Company, 80 years strong. Wiggity Wayne Sauces, supporting sauces for soldiers. And with generous support from Danny Irwin.